The more Trisha Paytas talks, the more she disproves her own claims. Trisha has been maintaining for some time that she was sober while she was with her ex, Jason Nash.
With Jason, I was sober because he had kids, so I maybe drank here and there, but I was not using. I think I took PCP this weekend.
What? Wait, what did you say?
Who's fucking just giving you PCP?
I know, it's like a New York thing, I think.
It's not a New York thing. It's a fucking go to jail thing.
Trisha, you took PCP this weekend?
I don't know, actually. To be clear to the viewers, I don't know. But yes, I think.
I went to a bunch of Broadway plays. Where'd you get PCP?
Theater people are crazy, babe. That whole year that I was in that group, you know, from 2017 to 2019 when I ended up at mental hospital, I never did any drugs. They always would say, oh, she was always on drugs. I was like, I didn't take a sleeping pill. I took nothing. I never drank, like nothing. I never took any drugs that time. The only time I started doing drugs was after all that happened. Don't worry, guys. I'm back on drugs and I'm drinking, so I'm not pregnant.
While I'm pretty sure that not too many actually believed her anyway, even more recently, Trisha has proven this to be false with her own words. In her zealousness to prove a point about not wanting to hang out with then 17-year-old Emma Chamberlain, Trisha accidentally outs herself and totally contradicts what she's been claiming about not using drugs while she was with Jason and the Vlog Squad.
A lot of people like to say that I'm a hypocrite and stuff, and a lot of times I am. But I will stand by this, right? The Emma coming to my house with David, to my apartment with David, and I remember being like, she has to stay in the car. Like, there's no way I'm letting like a 17-year-old up in my apartment, like with you and this other grown man. You know what I mean? It's like so odd. And like me back then at like 28, where I was like literally off my rocker and like on Xannies and stuff like that. I was like, how am I like coherent enough to know this? But like a school teacher or other adults in like with a power position wouldn't know this. Like that's like so wild to me. Me back then at like 28, where I was like literally off my rocker and like on Xannies. That whole year that I was in that group, you know, from 2017 to 2019 when I ended up at mental hospital, I never did any drugs. They always would say, oh, she was always on drugs. I was like, I didn't take a sleeping pill. I took nothing. I never drank, like nothing. I never took any drugs that time. I was like literally off my rocker and like on Xannies.
And even more recently, Trisha gave an interview to Vulture magazine where she claimed that the movie Party Monster was the first R-rated movie she saw at about 13 years old. However, Trisha has previously stated that she saw the movie Pulp Fiction at 6 years old.
I remember seeing Pulp Fiction when I was like 6 in the theater, like for like my birthday or something. It was like weird.
That is weird. But what's even weirder is that Trisha is forgetting all about her previous claims of seeing the movie Taxi Driver at 6, and this being the reason she was not only assaulted at 6 years old, but also blamed for it, since she had mentioned liking this movie.
From 6 years old. Someone saying that I provoked a sexual situation at 6 years old. And people believing that. Well, she did this. She said she liked this movie, so this is why I did this. And people are like, oh, well, okay, that makes sense. Well, you know, Trish at 6 years old, she watched Taxi Driver and described this explicit scene to me between a 13-year-old hooker and a grown man. So, like, that's why it happened. And a judge being like, yeah, actually, that makes sense. You're right. So, okay, Trish, did you say that? Yeah, I did say that. Okay, so that you deserve this.
I mean, surely. Taxi Driver is rated R. And obviously 6 is before 13, so Party Monster couldn't possibly have been the first R-rated movie she saw. And what about the movie Cape Fear? Trisha told Jason that she saw Cape Fear at 12 years old.
Same thing with Cape Fear, when she like put her like his thumb in her mouth. I used to watch that scene over and over, and I was just like, well, this is so sexual. I would squeeze my thighs together because I didn't know what was happening because I was like 12.
Trisha told Ethan Klein on Frenemies that a teacher stuck his thumb in her mouth because she said that she liked the movie Cape Fear.
And then the second time that happened, it was a teacher and another teacher, a different teacher. And he's like, well, she told me she liked the movie Taxi Driver. So like, or Cape Fear. I'm sorry, Cape Fear. He's like, so I just put my thumb in her mouth to suck it.
These movies are an integral part of her SA claims by teachers as a child. So surely she wouldn't simply forget, would she? Or maybe she just misremembered again. Or maybe the movies Pulp Fiction, Taxi Driver, and Cape Fear didn't fit into the narrative she wanted to paint in the interview regarding cosplay, so therefore Trisha just made something up to fit. Or perhaps Trisha made up the stories about Taxi Driver and Cape Fear to fit into her victim narrative at that time. It's like how she always seems to have a story in order to try to prove her point. You know, like how she supposedly was out of her mind on Xannies, But even so, she somehow had the wherewithal to know to not hang out with a 17-year-old. But yet at the same time, she didn't use any drugs then? Which is it? One story of hers always seems to disprove the other. They never hold up under scrutiny. And that's probably because they are just that, stories. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.